everyone, Cithryth here. Welcome to episode 103 of my LOTRO Loremaster Let's Play. I'm actually outside of the walls of Moria right now, because I have to plant a banner at the grave of the fallen dwarves over here. Now, the interesting thing about this quest actually is there was a bit of controversy when Mines of Moria came out, because as you can see there's these little hills of earth here where presumably these dwarves are buried from the Watcher fight. But, dwarves, oops, I accidentally walked over one, sorry. But dwarves are not supposed to be buried in earth. Dwarves, according to Tolkien lore, only bury their dead in tombs made of stone. They do not bury their dwarves in the dirt. So there was a bit of controversy when that kind of happened. I think ultimately it was chalked up to, since this is an expedition and they're kind of in a rush, maybe they decided not 100% sure. But I remember that being a thing. Oh yeah, and I suppose since I'm in Moria now, so you can't ride horses in Moria, which I think I've covered. And, luckily, at some point I pre-ordered something, and so I have this dusky Nimblefoot goat. Funnily enough, I don't think I got it from pre-ordering Moria, but I might have. I don't know. But I have a goat, so that's a thing. I actually think I got it from pre-ordering Siege of Mirkwood, maybe? Again, not 100% sure actually where I even got this goat. But all my characters have this goat. It's very handy, because, you do get a free goat in one of the first couple of quests here, and actually the next hub, but it's very slow. It's even slower than this one. I mean, this one's not great, because it only has 60 morale, but at least it's faster. Okay, so these first quests are all kind of just housekeeping quests, like going and planting the banner by the dwarf graves, collecting dull blades for these guys to work on. It's not super exciting, but it kind of gives you a little introduction to all the dwarf architecture and kind of the winding hallways of Moria. So it's pretty cool. It could be worse. But we will definitely get to some goblins pretty soon. And the deeper you get in Moria, the weirder the mobs are. I know I always talk about how weird the mobs are in this game. But we haven't even scratched the surface of weird. Like, wait until we get further into Moria. Weird just takes on a whole new level. One disappointing thing about Moria that's only really come to light recently, with the increased draw distance that they've enacted all over Middle-earth. Now that we have a much higher, longer, whatever word I'm supposed to use for this, much longer draw distance, I guess, we can actually see the ceilings in Moria now, which is not great, because they obviously designed them back when the draw distance was much shorter, and they didn't expect you to be able to actually see it. So, the carvings and designs just kind of like weirdly trail up to the ceiling, and the ceilings are very unpolished. The textures just aren't. Oops, I fell. They just aren't great. Later on, I mean, you can't see it here, but I've encountered passages in Moria later on where lamps, rather than actually connecting to the ceiling, because the ceiling is so high, they just kind of, like, the lamps just hang on a string that just cuts out because they didn't bother to take the string all the way up to the ceiling because the draw distance was so much shorter, they didn't actually expect anyone to see it. So that kind of stinks, because now that we have this really cool long draw distance, it'd be cool to be able to see these huge vaulted ceilings, but they just look crappy and not very good. So it's a bit disappointing, but I still generally like Moria. I like the looks of it. If you don't look up at the ceiling, it's mostly fine. I love the crystals and stuff. And there's all sorts of random places to find and explore here. For example, this is the Chamber of Deep Thought, which always reminds me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What is that noise? Ugh! I don't even have my links out. I was not prepared for this. This is a skulking glass spider, and it is a signature. And hopefully I don't die, although I don't think I will. My lynx is here, so I'm good to go. Alright, new deed. Cool beans. Alright. So you have defeated the spider that inhabited this chamber, and now it's not full of spider stuff. But yeah, I really like Moria, because even before the revamps that occurred, you'd find little objects like this dwarf axe, or there's like embellished breastplates and random amulets that you just find in random places, and they'd start quests. So it was kind of like the first kind of attempt at auto-bestowed questing. I mean, obviously they do a better job with it now, and the revamps really went along with it quite well. But yeah, it's just one of the reasons I like Moria. And especially, like I said, doubly so now that they've done some revamps. And now we've got Goblin Slayer advanced, or not advanced, but, you know.
Greetings, friend. Are you lost?
Alright, talk to that dwarf, and then I think I have to talk to somebody this way, maybe? I don't know. But let's take a look here, just take a second, because this just really illustrates all the different layers and stuff in Moria. So we're on this passage right here, right? And this obviously just a wall. But if we look over this way, we can see two different, I don't want to, oh, no, sorry. We see 4 different crisscrossing passageway, like bridge things over here. All different levels. So I think it's really cool. This is a really good little snapshot that shows the different levels that Moria exists on. Because Moria is not flat. Like, it's kind of hard to show it on the map. But all these different zones in Moria all exist on different levels. So, for example, Foundations of Stone is the deepest level. So even though it's just kind of here on the right, it's the farthest down level you can go. Whereas the ones at the top of the map are higher up. So, for example, oops, too far. Durin's Way is the uppermost level. Well, technically Zarakzagil over here is because that's actually outside. But you get my point. So, Moria is definitely a very interesting zone. Or, you know, grouping of zones, because it's so different. A recurring theme we're going to see a lot of in quests in Moria is very prideful dwarves. So this quest, we've got Dagfin, and he's having us look through promising debris because he's looking for some kind of treasure that his relatives told him would be here. But, I mean, obviously this place has been sitting uninhabited, or rather inhabited by goblins and all sorts of random nasty things. So, I mean, the chances of finding this treasure that his ancestors left here is pretty slim to none. But he's sure he's right, so we are helping him look through all these piles of debris. So we'll end up coming across a lot of very prideful, very stubborn dwarves later on. Woo, level 53. I am going crazy with the levels here. Only just finishing this first set of quests here out of Durin's Threshold, and I hit level 53. Awesome. Okay, so now we actually have our first quest to go kill goblins. And actually, I hit level 53, but these quests aren't that much lower level than, oh, yeah, 51. But the epic book is level 53, so I guess I'm not too far off. It's a little weird because everybody was level 50 when Mines of Moria, the expansion, released. And with Mines, it was kind of weird because with Mines of Moria, like, the expansions are technically also an update. So usually they release something that's not technically part of the expansion, but everybody kind of, you know, associates it with the expansion. Most recently, of course, Helm's Deep. The class revamps weren't part of the expansion, but everybody associates it with them because, or associates them with it because, you know, it happened at the same time. So Eregion was released at the same time as Mines of Moria, but you didn't need to own Mines of Moria to do Eregion. But everybody was level 50, so even though it's technically like a level 48 zone, everybody was doing it higher level. But everybody associates starting Moria with level 50, because I think, I don't know, a lot of people kind of just skipped Eregion and just went straight to Mines of Moria. Because you know, it's the cool new underground place, I guess. One of the things I was most excited for when Mines of Moria released was all the new orc and goblin skins and textures, because, you know, up until Mines of Moria, it was the first expansion for the game. So up until then, we had pretty much all the exact same looking orcs and goblins all throughout Eriador. So finally, Mines of Moria comes along, and we finally get not just new textures on the usual kind of mobs we see, like the big fat orc and the tall skinny orc, because, I don't know, those are like the two default orcs textures, I guess. But we also did get some new orc and goblin models. So like these ones have these weird pointy things on their back. We get some really crazy looking ones later in Moria that have like mushrooms growing on them and stuff. And so it was just really exciting. We also get ones where they have, I don't think on the goblins here, I don't think these goblins have them. No, they don't. But there's orcs and stuff we encounter later that have like dwarf jawbones as necklaces, and like the dwarf jawbones have beards attached to them still. It's freaky, but it's pretty cool to see all these new textures and models for enemies. It's always great when they introduce more variety into the game. So that was a really exciting part of Moria's release. Also, okay, so there's this goblin that was sleeping on this bed, but now he's kind of like stuck in the bed and I can't attack him and he can't attack me. So that's a little weird, but I guess I'm just gonna have to run away and kind of hope that he drops out of combat. But otherwise, I finally finished my first set of quests that are like combat based in Moria, so yay! Killing goblins, yay! Yeah, I'm just gonna run straight through these guys. Don't care. Sorry, goblins. Sorry, Lynx. Oh yeah, I can't turn in quests while I'm in combat. Ugh. I kind of hate that change. Like, I know why they made the change that you can't turn in quests while in combat. It was because people were exploiting some quests in Eastern Rohan. But it's kind of problematic, and there's actually some epic book quests that you are supposed to be in combat. Like, you cannot actually talk to the NPC not in combat at the end. They're like instance quests because they're epic book quests. So it's kind of weird. And I've had to submit Game Master tickets to get me out of quests because I have been in combat because that's how the quest is written. But then you can't turn the quest in because they made that mechanic to, you know, stop people exploiting stuff. So now I'm making my way to the first kind of big hub. Technically, yeah, Durin's Threshold is the first quest hub, but really whenever I think of the start of Moria, I think of Dolven View, which is the next area. Although I think with the revamps, they've made some little tiny camps along the way that we'll be stopping at. So that's something to keep in mind, I guess. So we might not be going straight to Dolven View, but pretty soon. Alright, yeah, here we go. Here's another little campsite with a couple dwarves. And we'll be doing their quests, but I think I'm going to stop here for now. I've been doing a lot of talking about Moria, because I have just so much to say about Moria. So thanks for watching. Next time, we'll be doing these quests here in Lamab Doom. And, yeah, look at all these goats. So yeah, that's what's going to happen next time. Dolven View is just up that way, actually. So yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you around the internet.